Hey there everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today we've got a juicy story for you, one that involves some of the biggest names in the music industry. It's a tale of betrayal, family drama, and a shocking arrest. You're not going to want to miss this, so make sure to stick around until the end. Now, I'm sure many of you have heard the rumors swirling around about Jay-Z, Nelly, and Little Blue Ivy Carter. But what's the real story here? Well, buckle up, because we're about to dive deep into the scandalous details. It all started a few months ago, when reports began circulating that Nelly had been spending an unusual amount of time around the Carter family. Beyoncé and Jay-Z, of course, are notoriously private when it comes to their children, so this immediately raised some eyebrows. What was Nelly doing hanging around Blue Ivy so much? Was he trying to get close to the family for some ulterior motive? Well, it turns out those suspicions were completely justified. According to sources close to the situation, Nelly had been systematically trying to turn Blue Ivy against her own parents. Can you believe the nerve of this guy? He was allegedly feeding the young girl all sorts of lies and misinformation, painting Jay-Z and Beyoncé as uncaring, manipulative parents who didn't have her best interests at heart. The goal, it seems, was to eventually convince Blue Ivy to cut ties with her family and come live with Nelly instead. I mean, talk about a brazen power play. This guy had the audacity to try and steal another man's child right out from under him. Now, I don't know about you, but if someone tried to do that to my kid, I'd be absolutely livid. And that's exactly how Jay-Z reacted when he caught wind of Nelly's scheme. By all accounts, the rapper was absolutely furious, and he wasn't going to let this slide. So, what did Jay-Z do? Well, he didn't just sit back and let Nelly continue his campaign of manipulation. No, Jay-Z sprung into action, using his considerable resources and connections to investigate the situation. And what he uncovered was truly shocking. It turns out that Nelly had been systematically grooming Blue Ivy for months, slowly but surely turning her against her own parents. He'd been showering the young girl with gifts, taking her on lavish outings, and filling her impressionable mind with all sorts of lies about her family. And the worst part? Nelly had apparently been recording these interactions, using them as leverage to try and blackmail Jay-Z and Beyoncé. Can you believe the audacity of this guy? He thought he could just swoop in and steal their child, all while holding the threat of damaging footage over their heads. Well, let me tell you, Jay-Z was not having any of it. This was his daughter, his flesh and blood, and he was not about to let some opportunistic rapper waltz in and try to tear his family apart. So, he did what any loving, protective father would do. He called in the big guns. That's right, folks. Jay-Z had Nelly arrested. Using his extensive network of connections and resources, the rapper was able to gather enough evidence to bring the authorities down on Nelly like a ton of bricks. And let me tell you, it was not a pretty sight. Nelly was hauled out of his home in handcuffs, protesting and pleading all the way. Can you imagine the look on his face when the cops showed up at his door? I bet he never saw it coming. But Jay-Z was not about to let him get away with his despicable scheme. Now, the details of the arrest and the subsequent legal proceedings are still a bit murky, but from what we've been able to gather, Nelly is facing some serious charges. Kidnapping, extortion, and a whole host of other offenses. This guy is in deep trouble. And you know what the craziest part is? Apparently, Nelly had been planning this whole thing for years. He'd been carefully cultivating a relationship with Blue Ivy, slowly but surely worming his way into her life and her trust, all with the ultimate goal of tearing her away from her family and making her his own. It's just sickening, really. To think that someone would stoop so low to try and manipulate and exploit a child for their own selfish gain. Blue Ivy is just a little girl, for crying out loud. She shouldn't have to deal with this kind of drama and betrayal. But you know what? I'm glad Jay-Z and Beyoncé were able to put a stop to Nelly's scheme before it was too late. They're fiercely protective of their family, and they weren't about to let some opportunistic rapper come in and try to tear it all apart. And let me tell you, the fallout from all of this has been absolutely massive. The music industry is buzzing with the news, and everyone is just waiting to see how this whole thing is going to play out. Will Nelly face serious jail time? Will Jay-Z and Beyoncé be able to put this behind them and move on with their lives? Only time will tell, my friends. But one thing's for sure, this is a story that's going to be talked about for a long, long time. It's a cautionary tale about the dangers of greed, manipulation, and the lengths some people will go to in order to get what they want. And you know what? I have a feeling that this is just the tip of the iceberg. Who knows what other secrets and scandals are lurking in the shadows of the music industry? One thing's for sure, I'll be keeping a close eye on this story, and I'll be sure to bring you all the latest updates as they come in. So there you have it, folks, the juicy details on the Jay-Z, Nelly, and Blue Ivy drama. It's a wild ride, to be sure, but I hope you found it as fascinating as I did. Remember to stay tuned for more updates, and as always, thanks for watching. Until next time.